Welcome to Tools to Manifest Your Dream Life with myself, Glenyce Hughes. Thank you so much for being here. I am so incredibly grateful for each and every one of you. This show is my 2024 in review, and I'm actually using 7 questions that is from the Mel Robbins podcast, and it's something like 7 questions that will make sure you have the best year this year or something like that. I love the format of these, so I'm going to share with you the 7 questions and some of my responses. We don't have enough time in the show for me to list everything, but I just want to talk through them and inspire you to look at them for yourself. One of the things that they talked about on Mel's podcast was, if you are going to a friend's house and you get lost and you phone your friend and you say, "I'm lost, can you tell me how to get to your house?" Your friend will say, "Where are you?" And this was the idea of looking back at 2024 in terms of like, where are you? And then where do you want to go? The first question, what were the highlights from 2024? What I did was I followed Mel's advice and I went through my calendar and my camera roll. Now, I have to tell you, I am the most proud of this one thing that I did in 2024. And if you're my Facebook friend, you might have seen me post about it, but it is the amount of time that I spent with friends and family. I am so impressed with it. I had, I don't even know, 40, 50 pictures that I was able to put on Facebook of all the events and friends and family stuff that I did. And I know there were actually many that I didn't even take photos at. This is huge because, one, we were away a lot of 2024. We were in Texas and we were out in British Columbia, and it's really easy, in a sense, to not then get together regularly with family and friends. I'm very grateful because some of my family and friends live elsewhere. It was really cool to look through the photos and go, yeah, I actually chose something that was one of my number one values, which is experiences in living, as opposed to buying more material things. Not that there's anything wrong with those, but really looking at what my values are. And that is one of my top values, is experiences, friends, family, those sorts of things where you can get together and go do fun things. And I'm just really proud of myself for that one. The other highlight was that I actually started a university. Hence the sweatshirt that hubby bought me for Christmas. Totally surprised me. I'd been talking about getting one for a while, and he got me this and some really cute gloves for the winter that go nicely with them. And then I went to see Taylor Swift in concert in Toronto in November. One of, I'm probably going to say, the highlights of my life, and not from the Swiftie energy, like, oh my gosh, I saw Taylor Swift. It really was. I should probably actually do a whole radio show on this on itself, because there was a level of receiving that I have never, ever experienced somebody choosing. I got to see Taylor stand on stage, completely quiet, receiving the audience's gratitude for her, their screams, their claps, their standing ovation, their love, their adoration, and she received it. And guys, like, it is beyond words. It is truly beyond words. So that's another highlight for me. And then all of the successful house and pet sits that hubby and I did over the year. There were, I don't even remember how many we did, and all of them were so magical. There's not one that I was unhappy with or didn't like. All the pets we got to love. To me, those are the highlights. When I think back to 2024, the dogs I got to love, the cats I got to love. That for me was another highlight. Question number 2, what were the hardest parts of 2024? That is not an easy question to look at. I really didn't want to go there. And yet, again, if we don't know where we are, we don't know how to change it. So one of those things for me was, many of you, if you've been around for a while, you've heard me talk about Erica, and she's the magic in the business, or was the magic in the business, with all the graphics and all the behind the scenes work. And we worked together almost 4 years, and I had to say goodbye to her in 2024. And it was so difficult. And I would say the hardest part was that I didn't acknowledge it until I was doing a Zoom call reference for her, and I actually broke out crying. I'm still embarrassed about that. What the person that I was doing the reference with, what she said to me is she's just like, wow, that's really a testament to Erica's ability to work and connection and all of that. And it was like, it really is. And also I still felt really embarrassed. That was, still brings up some tears for me. That was one of the hardest parts of 2024 for me, which actually leads me into another difficult aspect of 2020 was that business had changed a lot, and it had been changing, I would say, for a number of years. But as those years went on, then it really seemed to really change drastically in 2024. It really didn't, but at the end of the changing of it, it really seemed intense. A lot of that was the lack of energy on things for myself. Before, I would have creations, multiple usually, at least a week, if not a day, knocking at my door, asking to co-create. It was so ease, and I thrive in that energy. And that was very rare in 2024, like maybe one a month, maybe two, but there probably were even months that I didn't have any of that. And it really didn't start picking up again until December. Now, not horrible. And what I'm really grateful for is that it did invite me to look at, okay, what else? If I'm not going to run my business, or if I'm not going to run my business to the degree that I have, then what? And that's actually what got me to taking the digital marketing certificate with the University of Alberta. As things do, they lead us to other possibilities. The other, I would say, I'm not sure hard part of 2024, but hard part to really acknowledge is that I didn't do much of my alternate day fasting. So if you've been around for a long time, you've heard me talk about alternate day fasting. I started in, I believe it was 2020, lost a whole bunch of weight. And it is just one of the ways that my body works really, really well. And a lot of time in 2024, I didn't do it, which meant weight gain. With weight gain for me is often just a heavy feeling, an icky feeling. I don't like it. I have lots of judgment of myself about it. So that was another hard part. Now, I would also say I was able to change that in November. I started choosing it again. So there's been already a lot of changes. It is usually reflective of something else going on for me. And that was a lot of the grief that I wasn't looking at. So the grieving with Erica and the business, and even though it's been a while now, my little kitty Toddy, really acknowledging that grief, really getting present with that grief has really shifted and changed a lot of that for me. So then it becomes way more ease for me to choose it. Question number 3 is, what did I learn about myself? I love that question because it really got me looking at it. And initially I wrote some things down. I'm like, no, I actually already knew those things. So I really got present with it and sat with it. And it was over a couple days that I was able to acknowledge that I'm actually able to learn new things even when it's hard. And that's what I would say with my university classes is they are hard. They are not things that I would say, the information in some of the classes is not what comes easy to me. However, my lowest so far, I've done 5 classes, my lowest has been an A-. So I'm doing okay. I'm obviously doing pretty good, and it can be hard. And getting the assignments in and learning this way, at least learning this stuff this way. And so it is online only and self-paced to a certain degree. We have assignments due every Sunday, but there's no class that I attend. And if I were to do it again, I would only do it in person because there's a lot of questions that come up. And when I'm doing it at 5 a.m. or last minute assignment, getting it in, there's no time to ask those questions. That is definitely the number one thing that I learned about myself. And honestly, I am so proud. Question number 4, what am I going to stop doing in 2025? And right at the top of my list in this one is to stop comparing myself. This is something that I would say probably many of us do, and I am choosing to stop it. So if that's something that you do too, why don't you join me? Let's stop that for 2025 and beyond. Question number 5, what am I going to start doing in 2025? Now, I actually have a few things on this list, but the 2 that I'm going to speak about is to drink 2 liters of water a day. That's within reason. So sometimes if my body, I won't force my body, but one of the things that I know about myself is that it's often something I don't think about until afternoon. So if I'm choosing 2 liters of water a day, then having that awareness in the morning and then also being aware of it in the afternoon so that I can actually drink the amount of water my body would like rather than, oh shoot, it's the afternoon, I better get some water in. So that's one. The other thing that I looked at was my phone. I have an iPhone and that's how I track my steps. And I looked at on average the amount of steps that I take over a month. And I know all the gurus and all of the fitness people would tell you 10,000 steps a day. But I also know if I put that, it's not going to happen. What I looked at on average was the averages over the last few months. And then I went with 3,000 steps a day on average. So by January 31st, by the end of every month, that I'll have 3,000 steps on average a day. And that's a bit of a stretch for me because I can do, when we were in Toronto, there's a 16,000 step day, I can do them, but also that I can have 1,500 step days. So it's finding that balance. Number 6, what am I going to continue with in 2025? Well, I'm going to continue going to the gym because I started that a couple months ago. I'm going to continue with alternate day fasting. Then I'm also going to continue with having my friends and family time be a priority. That filled me up in ways I can't even put into words. So that is definitely continuing this year. Number 7, what can I do today to set myself up with success? For me, that is actually putting things into my reminder app. So I've put in my reminder app at 1 o'clock, it will remind me if I had a liter of water so far. And then at 5 o'clock, it will say, have I had a liter of water so far? Just so I'm aware of it. Again, I will not force my body, but just so I'm aware of it and I'm able to keep track of it that way, and setting up reminder apps for all the things I talked about. The other thing, and I highly recommend, this is a free gift for you if you would like it. Link will be above or below. If you don't see it, reach out. A magical and cool way to manifest your dream life. And it's basically a bingo sheet. And I have a really cool spin on it. So if you've seen people talking about it on social media, my way is probably very different, and I highly recommend it because that has really got me geared towards what I'm asking for and looking towards and creating for 2025. So I've got a really fun way to do that. Again, link is above or below. Free gift for you. You get the handout, you get the Zoom call, and you also will get the template that you can either use in Canva if you have a Canva account, or there's a PDF you could print off and use. There is my 2024 in review. I do not think I have ever done such an in-depth one, and I love it. I will continue this every year now because it is such a cool way to really look at where I'm at and where I'd like to go. And then also with my bingos, as I call them, also how to get there. Thank you again so much for being here, and I look forward to chatting again soon.